Welcome everyone to the BALListic Report. My name is Taylor Moore here with Corey Spivey, and today we're gonna talk about NFL topic that is not related to a game that's going on right now, but just in general, as we watch football, it's so easy to get caught up into watching Derrick Henry stiff arm a running to see him stiff arm a player and then run for another 4 yards for a touchdown, or to see Kyler Murray throw a Hail Mary pass to DeAndre Hopkins for a touchdown that just make you want to jump at your seats. And those plays make you want to watch NFL, to make you want to get excited, make you want to even think you can play football when you probably can't. So it's easy to get caught up into that, but sometimes it is also easy to overlook what goes on behind the scenes or things that we might not think about a lot. So I'm gonna read a few quick facts, Corey, and after I read these facts to you, man, I just want your feelings about what I read to you and just your quick opinions about it. So here we go. Number one, there are 32 NFL teams. All right. About 70% of the players on those teams collectively are black. There are five minority coaches, in which only two are black. And there are zero owners in the NFL. So after reading that to you, Corey, how do you feel about that?
I feel it's unfair, but it's not very surprising at this point anymore. The heavy majority of the owners in the NFL, as you named, are white. Power positions in the NFL are white. So what should we expect? The NFL is the league that has made it very clear they have no intentions on being like the NBA, which is the players' league. They look at it like players come and go, but the fans generally stay, because football is such a staple in their lives, they can't live without it. The NFL knows that, and they work that to their advantage. You think about a guy like Colin Kaepernick, who basically laid his football life down to take a stance for the value of Black lives. And he's a guy that's well respected, well deserving of honor. But the league has continued on, 5 or 6 seasons since then, haven't really missed a beat other than COVID, and still they skated through that. So although it bothers me, I'm trying to use my words right. It's one of those things where it's not changing. It's bothered me, but when you see guys like Hugh Jackson lose their jobs, Anthony Lynn lose their jobs over being average, and then there's other guys in the majority that are keeping their jobs, that are getting jobs. You see like a Joe Judge get hired. Not really much experience, but then you see a guy like Eric Bieniemy get passed up. You see a guy like David Culley basically get hired as a publicity stunt, and really he's put in a position where no one can really succeed in that. And then it's going to just reinforce, hey, a Black guy or a minority guy can't be put in that position and succeed. So again, I'm upset. It bothers me, but at this point, I just say it's the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's kind of how I have to leave it on that front. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Just the fact that there has never been a black owner in the field, so that just goes to show that, hey, once you get that okay, man. So once you get that owner position, for the most part, you can hold on to that position as long as you want to, and then at the same time, you can pass it down to your son, to your daughter, so it stays within the family. So, like you said, the way it's looking, it doesn't look like it will change because, hey, if because if that mother or father passed away who owns that team, it's just getting passed down to their son. So it's just a revolving door. It's constantly cycling within that family. So to a certain extent, the only how that's going to change is if the owners actually give it up, man. Because if you look at the pyramid or whatever you want to call it, the hierarchy, you looking at the owners, then you have the GMs, coaches, and players, and and the players at the bottom. And we already know that players only last what approximately 3 to 4 years in the league, if that. So it's so easy, man, for players to come and go, but because you have the college
Yeah,
realm where hey, college are so you have the college realm where you have a lot of college players. They're ready and hungry to come in, and to play just for literally anything, just because it's better than what they had coming from college. So
hmm,
man, to a certain extent, like you said, I don't see it changing from the owner standpoint, but but I would say from the coaches, GMs and owners, they just have to allow minority coaches a chance and just give them a chance in a good position, because there are a lot of times, where a lot of minority coaches they are hired, which is a good thing,
yeah,
but the thing is they're hired into these positions, in which to a certain extent they're probably going to have a losing record at the end of the season. So as they have these one or two losing records, all it's doing is just building up their draft picks. So as soon as they have a lot of draft picks, boom, they'll let that guy go, and then they'll bring
right,
in someone else that's probably younger and probably less qualified to basically give them everything they need, and also with the draft pack with the draft picks to be able to bring the players they need so they're able to succeed. So it can be a lose-lose situation depending on the um, just the whole problem that in which is going on. But that's why it's tough, because at the same time the owners, to a certain extent, they have control.
yeah,
So if it doesn't start with them, the needs statistics are pretty much just will stay the same. I think for the next few years, for the next years to come. So as
yeah.
we're talking about owners and GMs, man, so how do you feel about the Deshaun Watson situation between him and the owner of the Texans? Man, you know that he was given a large contract. He signed a massive extension last year. He played well. He played up to his contract that he had. So they were looking for a coach too in this offseason. So apparently Deshaun Watson was telling the owner that, hey, I like Eric Bieniemy. I like Eric Bieniemy. And he's the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs. And all around the league, he's been seen as a good candidate. But to a certain extent, it seemed like the owners made a false promise to him, and now he wants out. So, how do you feel about that situation? You feel that Deshaun is right by doing that? You feel like he's wrong, or
I tell you what, I look at it like this. Uh, First of all, like he said, man, look, you know, and he tried to backtrack after he said it. You're the player, and basically we're the people that make decisions. In other words, you work for us. And that showed, no matter how many times you try to backtrack on a situation, this could be as an NFL GM, an owner, a coach, a player, a regular everyday fan. When you say something, you cannot take it back. There's no proverbial whiteout over words when they're spewed out of your mouth.
that's true?
And there's an old proverb that says that you speak from the elements of your heart. And so that's what, even though he may have apologized, he showed his true colors. And I think that's ultimately what just pushed everything over the edge. But as I stand back and look at this, I feel the GM and the higher ups are not really responsible for running information by players for approval, for advice, regardless of the team. Stay with me though. I feel you should do what's best to everyone. Because on the flip side, I don't think the GM should be down the field telling him how to throw passes, how to call reads, how to identify mics, and how to, give him approval on how to run his game or how to see the game. I don't think the GM is responsible for speaking to players unless you give that man your word. When you come to the player and tell him or ask for his advice on something, then I think you have to run that by. That's not protocol as a GM. That's protocol as a man. Your word is supposed to be your bond. When you say something, you're supposed to mean it, right?
Yeah.
And so Deshaun Watson may have still wanted out, but I think the process was sped up and this thing just continued to burn. This bridge is completely burned. When you come to him and you falsify information, when you come to him and you feed him lies about what's going on, Deshaun Watson was in his own lane. He was balling out, like you said. He just signed the contract. He was carrying himself as the professional quarterback and team leader that he is. And then this man just comes out of nowhere and asks for your input. Then they go and they hire this firm. They hire this agency to help them fulfill what they had on their plate. And then you disregard the advice and fire them, and then basically tell your franchise quarterback to kick rocks. So that's horrible management tactics, but it's even worse people skills. And so, like I said, I think they burned this bridge to the ground with their franchise quarterback. And it's time to stop trying to poo-poo this thing and stop trying to sugarcoat it and act like it's not as bad as it is. It's gone past the point of any return. As far as I'm concerned, they brought this upon themselves, and they're trying to put a Band-Aid on a dead corpse. They just gotta let it go.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you on some of those things. I think Deshaun Watson had a red flag when they traded away his boy DeAndre Hopkins. That was his go-to guy. That was the money man, and from there, to a certain extent, that was really due to Bill O'Brien. Just having too many powers of because he was like a part GM too, as well as coaching. So he was really doing too much. But just the fact that he sent away a connection that you had with the quarterback and the wide receiver, like it's hard to build those wide receiver and also QB relationships. And they also had ties because they both went to Clemson. So they had a lot of ties, and they got along well with each other. So that was already a number one flag, I think, for him. I think, but he still signed a contract. You know, you know now, now you'll hear a lot where it's like, hey, if you sign this contract, you know what you was doing. You signed this contract. You need to play to the end. And and hey, I get that. But the thing is that we're not living in those times now, where it's like, hey, you're just gonna play, just play till your contract out and that's it.
Right.
And like at the end of the day, this shows that the player wants to win. Look, Deshaun Watson is your franchise player. He's 25 years old. Like the guy, listen, the guy still haven't even reached his prime. I think he's 25 years old, I believe. And it's like if you were to take care of the situation right a couple years ago, man, this could have really been a competitive team in the AFC if they would have just did it right.
Yeah.
Because they had all the pieces there. But if that's your franchise player and you want him to be there, you have to involve him in some of the talk, especially from the offensive side of the ball. And we're looking at from the head coach side of the ball. He wanted the Kansas City coach because he believed in him. I think that during one of the Pro Bowl games, so he was able to talk to Eric Mahinmi during that time too. So he was able to kind of build that relationship with him too. So he was kind of already saying that, hey, this might be a good coach for our team. So he's looking out for the team and not only for himself. And it's tough because I know he got his money, but the thing is that when you get your money, you're trying to win after that.
Right.
So hopefully this doesn't backfire on him, and he's able to go to a team where they can win. But yeah, I think the Texans goofed on this, man. You can't give up someone this young, which which still probably haven't even reached his prime yet. Just because you wanted to be, just so stuck on trying to be the owner of the team, and it's my way or the highway.
Yeah.
Listen, if you want to win, you have to bring everyone to the table and get opinions, and get opinions too for this.
Right.
So,
yeah.
So moving on to our next question, man. So, do you think players really care if they play for a minority head coach or not?
Oh, I think a lot of players from all backgrounds care, but some more than others. Obviously, the NFLPA members probably care the most, and that's if I can say the most. But I think the truth of the matter is this: if I'm a player specifically of color, I'm rooting for everybody to get a position, to get an opportunity, man, woman, regardless of color, or background. I want you to be able to get an opportunity. I want you to be able to get a job, a position. I'd be happy when you do, and I'm bothered when you don't. But on the other hand, I wouldn't be calling for anyone to get a job on my team, be it a coach, a coordinator, a GM, anybody who wants that position, who is unqualified schematically, characteristically, historically, from a perspective of previous job records or reputation, no matter the ethnic background, religious beliefs, sexual orientation, or anything else that's on that list. Ultimately, I believe the players just really want the best available individual who's qualified for that position in the right spot, given a fair process. And oftentimes we're just not seeing that. They're getting passed up. They're not getting calls, or they're getting calls just to fulfill protocol. And there's never any actual intentions of hiring this individual. And so everybody knows it's just this publicity stunt. So again, I don't think that that's being carried out in a fair way.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with you on all your points. I think, just something additional to add, as a player, I was probably coming into the league from college, man. I think, number one, you're probably looking for a way for you to be able to secure your bag,
Yeah.
So I think it's number one, man, because a lot of these players, they may not be coming from the best backgrounds, from the best cities, So I think number one, I think they primarily care about, hey, how can I make sure that my family is straight, that my family's family is straight, if I'm able to take care of my money financially and able to play well, because at the end of the day, man, they don't have ordinary jobs, man. They're playing football and getting paid.
Right.
I mean, that's a pretty good gig right
Yeah.
there. I don't know about you, man, but I think that after they secure that bag, they're probably thinking, man, you know what? Like you said, it doesn't make sense for this coach to get this job who's not qualified.
Yeah.
Someone who's probably just a couple years older than me,
Yeah.
not qualified, and they think about to coach players who have families, married, and have businesses and this and that on the side.
Right.
It kind of looks a little different like when you see a lot of these young coaches get these positions. Now mind you, some of these coaches are able to adjust and they're able to bring in new schemes to an offense that is different to the league. And we've seen that, but at the same time, we had a couple young coaches come in and it's been the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Someone like Adam Gates, he had a couple opportunities, and his recent one with the New York Jets didn't turn out good. And now he's been fired for that position, so it, yeah, man. So I definitely agree with you, man. I just think it's workmanlike when coaches are probably not given a fair chance, and and I think that's all that the players are probably just looking for a coach that is given a fair chance, and also, as you said, someone's being qualified, who can really coach a team, who can bring them together, and also just be able to lead the team appropriately. So, yeah, that's how I see that too. So as we
Yeah.
wrap it up, what you say?
Yeah, and if I can add, just before we go to our our last point, anybody that's watching or whoever gets this video to, and I think I can speak for both of us and a lot of players and fans of the minority and of the majority who are siding with the minority. The point is not that we're wanting all white people in positions of power or coaches or players to be removed from their spots. There's so many people that are in those positions that are doing excellent jobs, and we're not asking for those people to just be removed for absolutely no reason. We're not asking for those people to not get jobs or positions or opportunities going forward. That's not what we're calling for. We just want to be very clear. What we're calling for is that when these individuals are in a position and there's an opening there, give everybody who's qualified. Don't look at, man, I can't take this player, or I have to take this guy and put him in that position. We're not asking for us to be able to just flood the league with unqualified people. All we're wanting is for the qualified people to get the same opportunities that other qualified people are getting, or unqualified people are getting, who don't look like us. That's all we're asking for. It's just an equal, level-headed playing field. So I just wanted to say that before we move on.
Definitely for sure, man. So as we wrap this up, Corey, so where do you think that we go from here?
So we're gonna come kind of full circle, and I'm gonna answer this without answering this with what you said earlier, and I'll explain what I mean by that. to be completely honest, we have to pray for a miracle to figure out where we're going from here. Because to try to change this would be like, trying to remove flavor from Kool-Aid, right? Like once it's in there, it's in there. The only way to get the contents out of the cup and fix the cup is you got to dump everything out. And I just don't see how that happens. These billionaire owners aren't going anywhere. Like you said, they're passing these things on to their business partners, to their family, to their kids. They're not selling their teams. They're not giving these teams away. They're not walking away from the game. So there lies the problem. The mentality that we can't hire certain people and we won't hire certain people or we won't fire certain people. That mentality is going to remain the same. It's going to remain in there. The Rooney Rule was put in place. The NFLPA, they make collective bargaining agreements. The players, they take stances. The coaches, they make statements. Fans, we wear T-shirts. Everything is making the effort to make this evolution, but the dominating factor is not in lockstep with the rest of the moving parts. And so this process is, as the movie Concussion said, trying to go to war with a group of people that own a day of the week. And so what do we do moving forward? I don't know. It has to be whatever as an individual makes you feel like you're comfortable. If that's boycotting the NFL, then you've got to do that. If it's I'm not going to play, then it's just do that. If it's I'm going to ignore that and just keep playing and hope for the best, I don't know, whatever. Maybe we're going to have to make some more protests. I don't know. But at this point, the NFL has proven they have too much power, too much manpower, too much money, too many resources to ride this thing out longer than anyone else. So I think you just got to make your own decision for yourself and move forward with this thing.
Yeah, I definitely agree on you with that, man, because personally, I try to put myself in owner shoes, man. Now, if I was an owner, let's say the Tennessee Titans, and if I had a family, married, and had a couple of kids, I'll be looking
for selling.
Huh?
No, I was just saying, I'm not selling.
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah, and like that's my point. It's like, listen, once I get about 78, I'm like, look, son, let's keep it in the family. All you gotta do is show up. Don't do anything that's gonna put you on the news and put yourself in jeopardy, and let's just keep this thing rolling and pass it down. Yep. Man, so to a certain extent, I can't blame them, man, for keeping it in family because, hey, I do the same thing. If I would do
exactly.
It was, man, but I would say, kind of like you were saying, it's that mentality, just to give everyone a fair chance and to also just have a mindset that now listen, you can't do this by yourself. It takes everyone, and it's tough, man, because some owners, they want to take credit for this, that, and the third. It's like, hey, listen, you're not out there playing football. It's players that are getting serious injuries that affect them for the rest of their life. So are you talking about that movie Concussion? Listen, like some of the injuries can have long-lasting impact, so it's, yeah, man, it's one of those things where it has to start from the top because they do have majority of the power, but at the same time, just give it to some, for these GM positions too, as well as the head coaches. Just give it a fair shot. We talk about the Rooney Rule. Now to a certain extent, we see that some teams, man, some teams, man, so all they'll do is just basically interview a minority head coach just for the heck of it, just to say that, hey, at least we interviewed someone. But their mind was already set on hiring someone else already. Man, so that's why to a certain extent, like the Rooney Rule, it's good, but at the same time, like if their mind is set on another head coach, they're bringing in these other minority coaches just for practice. Just for them, hey, we bring you in just so you can interview. Other than that, we just thank you just for participating in this interview. To a certain extent, that's what it is for a lot of time because there were plenty of assistant coaches that had interviews this past offseason who were minority but then really didn't get the job. I know the Titans interviewed 2 minority coaches, but hey, they already hired in-house afterwards. So, so it's just small things like that where it's like, okay, were you really looking to hire someone outside the organization, hire someone who was minority, or were you doing it just for the heck of it? But yeah, like you said, yeah, it's gonna take some time. It won't happen overnight, but it's definitely that it's definitely that mentality just to give everyone a fair chance um, in this game of football on all aspects of the game, and not only on the field but off the field as well. So yeah, I was going to say thank you for everyone for being able to come in on a video. Please like, share, subscribe, and also please send these videos to your family and friends. Thank you all, and see y'all later.